My inspiration to go to college was I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know how.
My largest inspiration to go to college would have to be my parents. They're actually both from Trinidad, and the reason why they came to America was for opportunities for themselves and me and my siblings.
Well, my parents are immigrants, so they are Vietnam War refugees, and they came to America for a better life, and so that was not negotiable in our household. Like, their children were going to go to college and have an education. So it's a very typical narrative, but that's basically it. Like, that was the expectation.
Being the first person in my family to ever go to college or to ever pursue higher education. And I don't know, kind of the whole idea that, going to college and having a degree gets you a better job, gets you a better life. And in that, I want to be able to, go back to Denver, help my family out, be able to help, people like myself.
I think also as well trying to find other people that I would be able to relate to as well. It's not like I could just go up to people and ask like, oh, hey, are you the first in your family to go to college? That'd be a little weird as a first year going up and down a residence hall and asking that. But I don't know, find people to be able to relate to.
That was a really fun transition looking back. As a first generation student, my family didn't really know how to support me in transitioning to college, but they were doing their best to support me.
The culture shock of it was, that was hard, and it surprised me. Lots of things that other people didn't understand, and I didn't know what I didn't understand. Like, I would just periodically, things would happen and I'd be like, oh, everyone else seems to know exactly what's going on here, and I'm deeply confused, and I'm not even sure what I'm confused by. So I had a really hard time.
I don't know, I felt really guilty going to college. I don't know, especially like within a Trinidadian household, family is like such a big thing. It's not only like moving out the house, but moving like halfway across the country.
It was exciting, a little nerve-wracking. I looked to other mentors, other family and friends outside of my family who had gone because I didn't have my parents to lean on.
I didn't have any family members or anybody to tell me, be prepared for this. Make sure you get your sleep, make sure you eat on time, things like, very logistical things that a lot of times, first year college students forget to do.
I didn't know that college was not just about studying. It is about socialization, and I had no idea that that was what it was about. And it was about becoming someone who goes to college and went to college.
Being able to distance yourself and say, I'm going to have to do this. I have to do this for myself. That's hard.
I would say the challenges were not really having people at home that understood what I was going through or could give me any advice.
I think the biggest challenge was as I was growing and developing through a variety of experiences, my family was staying the same. But the neatest thing I saw is that through my 4-year college experience and then beyond, as I've remained in higher education, by me becoming educated, I have educated my family and brought them along as well.
I would go home, and my parents, not having had a college education, would want to know how college was. And so I would talk about what I was reading, and as a philosophy major, I'd be like, oh, well, we're reading David Hume. And they were like, who? I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Well, let me explain to you what we're reading. And that was weird, to be explaining things to my parents. That was weird for me, and it was weird for my parents.
In high school, I did well. I wasn't great, but I did fine. I was towards the top of the class. And I didn't have to study any. I almost never did homework in high school, played a lot of sports, and so every night we were playing sports and traveling to games, and I didn't really do homework. I would do homework the morning of, right before class. And going to college, that wasn't the same ball game. I had to study. So I had almost no study skills, almost no discipline to sit down and make myself do that.
For any first year or first generation college student, talking to other students that they feel comfortable with, is the key resource there. And on top of that, professors, Drake being such a small school, I'm able to go and talk to my professor like a human being and, be able to get advice or any tips from them that will be able to help make my college transition a lot easier.
The biggest challenge that I see as an administrator is the sense that I can see students feel like they are alone in their struggles, and they really are not. There are so many resources available, and there are so many people that understand what they're going through, but may not know that a student needs help.
I thought for a long time that if something wasn't working, it was because there's something wrong with me. And what I will now say to students, like, the athletes who have the most access to coaches are Olympic athletes and professional athletes. And so they have lots of resources. So using resources is a mark of commitment to being good at something.
You know, I don't have fond memories of running to the bookcase and grabbing all the books. And that translated in college to struggling to read for comprehension. I would fall asleep when I would read. I didn't know how to read fast. And so seeking out resources to build a skill set to make me better, because it wasn't a deficit in who I was as a being, it was a skill set that I hadn't been taught. So seeking those resources to make me more successful.
Know your advisor. Oh my gosh, I try to reach out to my students, and sometimes I have advisees whom I've never seen. And usually the people who don't come in are the people I need to see the most. I want to be there for them.
Don't be afraid to make a mistake, more than anything. You know, it's gonna happen, you're gonna get an F, you're gonna stay up late, you're gonna feel like quitting sometimes, but, you know, take any failure or take any mistake that you've had or made and learn from it.
Engage in your classes. Engage in the fun that learning is and the fun that college is in that way. Also engage in the learning that happens outside of class. Join organizations. Devote yourself to those sorts of things. There's so much growth that happens, so much you gain out of that experience that you don't even realize at the time.
Be yourself and immerse yourself in the college experience and the surrounding neighborhood as much as possible, because you'll never know what resources and what people you'll meet throughout the next 4 years or however long you're in college for. And you never know what kind of impact they'll have on you by the end of your 4 years.
Seek out your resources, and there's lots of us on campus here at Drake who've been in your shoes, and so don't be afraid to have conversation and lean on those around you. You're not alone in this experience, and you will make it.
You should use your confusion to your advantage. Like, being lost is like an opportunity to ask questions that other students that are not first generation won't ask. There's a kind of complacency that can be built in. That can be a disadvantage because they say, well, this is gonna be okay. I know the ropes, but actually they don't either, right? Things are confusing, and you know, everyone should be asking questions. So I would say just use that confusion to your advantage and not be afraid just to ask.
Talk to each other and to other people and to faculty. Just talk a lot. How's college? And what's cool about college and what's hard about college? And don't bottle that up, because that'll be the way to find resources and find supportive and sympathetic people.
If you leave before you get a degree, you have debt, and you aren't in a position to get the kind of jobs where you can pay back the debt. So just don't quit. Figure out a way, take time off if you need it, but just don't quit.